Say that again.
This is my main street. This is where I spend every day of my life. Oh, Joni, you know what's crazy is that I sent you a picture. I can't believe you're here, but I sent you a picture a year and a half ago. Do you remember the picture I sent you?
Maybe.
It was a picture of, finish the sentence, a picture of a lamp in the shape of a
I don't remember.
person with a baseball cap holding a tennis racket.
Oh yeah,
And it
yeah,
reminded me
yeah.
of you. And the guy refuses to sell it to me.
Okay.
And it's up here in real life.
Okay.
If you want to see it.
I guess I do. I guess I do.
If it's open. But I go into this store all the time. This is the art store. That's the grocery store. It's a small town. It's just so open. This is where I teach.
How did you get the job here?
I applied. It was a little bit, it was weird. The timing of it was very strange. I was in Japan when I applied to the job, doing a fellowship. And I was at this coffee shop in Osaka. And it was the same coffee shop where a dear friend of mine, Ki-hong from Korea, met me. And we met, and I remembered very distinctly going, I had very strong associations with her at this coffee shop. And Ki-hong I met when I was an undergrad at UConn, and she was a grad student, and we were hanging out in Japan and at this coffee shop, and I was back at this coffee shop, you know, 8 years later, the same shop, applying for this job in Korea. And she was living in Korea at the time. She's from Korea, and so I was just thinking maybe this is a good time, it's a sign. And then I got the job, and now me and Ki-hong hang out all the time.
Oh, cool.
And she helps me with my puppet costumes and helps me. So I've known her for a really long time. So I applied. I actually applied late, but I got the job. I interviewed. When I interviewed, the president of the school was a Cal Arts graduate.
Oh, cool.
And so we had a lot in common in terms of our approach and philosophy to teaching and to school. And so we got along really well. And then, you know, I got the job. I had to do a fake class.
What's like the most memorable experience teaching here so far?
I did a production class with the students. It was 40 students, and we put on a puppet production together.
Oh.
And, you know, just working with them, and they're just all really invested in the production and really cared about the work and cared about puppets. And none of them were dismissive of puppets. And it was really awesome to just watch. And none of them used puppets before.
Oh, wow.
Because puppets aren't popular in Korea at all.
Really?
So most of them didn't really have a reference.
I think there's a lot of like puppetry in Asia.
Yes,
like
but Korea has
traditions.
almost none. And the tradition of puppetry here is almost zero.
Wow.
There's mask traditions, but there's almost no puppet traditions.
Wow.
There's like some record of like puppet traditions with Buddhist monks.
Yeah.
And they would like do ceremonies, and while they're doing the ceremonies, there'd be a shadow of the monk in shadow, like a puppet, shadow puppet, performing the same ceremony. And there's also a tradition with puppet feet, where they would use their feet for puppets. And there's some rod traditions, but they're very folk, and they're just not popular. And people don't have like Muppets here. Like people don't know what Kermit the Frog is.
I've seen like ads for it.
It's not.
But it's not like a popular thing here.
It's not a popular thing here. And so, it was awesome just to see them like, just what they did with with puppets and with live streaming projection and technology, and it was just so fun to be a part of that process with them.
Yeah.
And you know, when you do a production, you do like a theater show, the end, you know, you're so stressful, and at the end everyone's happy. I mean, to participate in that ceremony with these students, I felt really lucky, and it was awesome. And we did it in Seoul at the other campus, which was really great. And then in Seoul, they got stuck in an elevator. Like, that was very memorable. Everyone was having fun. It was like 8 o'clock at night, and like, you know, 15 students went into an elevator and they got stuck. And I was freaking out. I was the only supervisor. We had to call the fire department. I didn't speak Korean. We had to call the fire department. We had to come pull them out of the elevator. It was very exciting. I would say that was memorable.
That sounds memorable.
And they just have like a kind of a interesting sense of humor. Like,
Yeah, I
There
really
was
like Korean sense of humor.
like you would have loved this. They had like the opening day ceremony. They bring in like a famous person to graduate, just talk to the students, and all the faculty sit on these steps. All the students are out here. And then during the ceremony, like no matter who was talking, the guests, the president, no matter what, there was like the clown group like performing at the same time. And there was this one kid who was dressed like a turtle, and he just walked from like there, not walked, he crawled like a turtle from there all the way to the top of the steps. And by the time the ceremony was over, 2 hours later, he was still like going up the steps. So I don't know, I found it very
Yeah, I love that.
You're completely dedicated to something so absurd.
Do you get your own office?
Huh?
You get your own office?
Oh yeah, that's a great
nice.
office.
Oh, smells crazy in here.
Smells?
Yeah,
Like bad, you think?
No, like chemicals.
Like what?
Chemicals.
Really?
Yeah.
Like spray paint?
Yeah.
Oh, I spray painted it in here. That's why. I got the hair going. Sorry. That was a very Asian way of saying that you were hot.
Wait, what?
So that was a very Asian way of saying that you were hot. Instead of like, you turn the air conditioner, you say, this is my office.
Do you have that thing where you're like supposed to make something all the time to like continue working here or whatever? Like Jenna was telling me about that.
Yeah, they have this very similar.
Yeah.
You get graded on your, at the end of the year, you know, how many research papers you made, what are you making?
Like you?
Yeah, how many research papers have you done? You're supposed to. But I think in Jenna's case, I think in Jenna's case too, you either fall into 2 different camps. If you're a professor, you do creative research or you do academic research. So if you want to write a paper or you want to make a movie, both of these things kind of count as the same. So I'm making a film and I get graded on that film. I don't really care, I don't want tenure here, so none of it really matters. I don't really follow a lot of the rules.
Okay.
And I probably won't be invited back at some point.
Do you feel like they like you, the people in charge?
I think some of them do. I think that they didn't last year, but I think now that there's more foreign teachers and they see that I'm a lot easier than a lot of the other foreign teachers, and specifically the Germans, they like me a lot. A lot of alliances in Korea.
Alliances?
Alliances and things.
Whoa. So fancy in here.
It's nice, right?
Yeah.
It's very nice. I'm very lucky. I'm gonna have a nice view of the mountain. Quiet. Present. Good. Not exciting in here, but my Tomodachi.
What is he? He's a Tamagotchi?
Isn't he awesome?
I guess. He's cool. What kind of reaction do you want me to have to him?
Like pick it up, be cool. Oh my god, where'd you get it?
Oh my god, where'd you get it? I'm picking it up. Oh, sorry, I broke it.
It's handmade.
It's handmade?
He's so cool. He's just cool. I thought
Yeah.
at least you'd be like, oh wow, he's cool.
Yeah, he is cool. I like him. Sorry about my lackluster response to him.
I got Alex one too.
Oh yeah? Alex would definitely like that.
Yeah, Alex and I share a love for toys.
I think of.
Check this out. Awesome.
What is it?
I don't know why you say you're into stuff. I show you the coolest shit.
Yes, what is
You're
it?
like, oh, I like filming stuff. I like showing stuff. I like stuff. And I show you some of the coolest stuff, and you don't even react.
I'm just tired.
What is it? It's a statue of a little boy dressed like a boxer.
It's a little boy dressed as a boxer?
Yeah, with boxing gloves on.
Oh.
Check this out. Owl vase. Pretty cool. I want him in a crane game.
A crane game? A vase?
No,
a vase?
The gopher.
The gopher. Oh, I thought you meant. I was like, how are they? That's dangerous. Something breakable.
This is my friend Skylar, and we've been friends since. Well, I guess this isn't a big deal to you because you're young, but we've been friends since high school.
That's cool.
She was older than me, and she had cunt written on her shoe. In high school, by the way. The word cunt on her Converse.
That's actually really impressive.
And she was a senior, and I was a freshman.
Wow.
And I was like so scared of that. I was like, oh my god. Cunt on the Converse. It was so intense. And then they did the vagina monologues at my school. And she did cunt. And
that was before cunt was a big thing.
it was before, exactly right.
Yeah, cunt's a big thing now.
And now it's a big thing, but she was an early adopter. Oh, I think this worked. Thank God. Christ almighty. I'm such a bad animator.
Why?
I really am. And I'm still...
Why?
Because I have this... I bought this motion control rig used. And I have no idea how to use it. And I've been using it wrong. And by using it wrong, I just have been animating, bad, poorly. And I don't know. I'm just not very good. I'm not very smart.
How do you, what do you think your choices are that are making the animation bad? Is it just that you have no choices? Or are you like...
I don't think I willingly... Yeah, I think that I don't have the experience and the knowledge and... I don't have the experience and knowledge when I'm working to draw upon to make things go smoother and to make processes easier. And so often my process just takes so much longer than other people because I don't have enough knowledge and experience and memory to draw upon that to make it go quicker or to understand technical aspects and elements and just to make it pop more. So, like Maureen Selwood said, I rely a lot on my writing as opposed to relying on any type of aesthetic choices because I don't know.
I think you make aesthetic choices. Maybe not in your animation specifically, but I think you make a lot of really interesting, visual choices with what you're doing. I think back to the performances you were doing at Cal Arts that I remember. And I feel like
but they almost feel unintentional. I guess you probably know what that's like. I think most artists are working kind of unintentionally with their styles, but I know you think I should be. You think I should not make films. You think I should be a puppeteer.
Wait, why do you think I think that?
Why?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever said that, have I?
No, but I just think that about you.
You think that I think that?
Yeah, I think that you think that.
Why?
I don't know. It's just what I think. I think that if I were to mind read you, I'd be like.
You're projecting a lot.
Yeah, projecting. I'm gonna use you to project. Because
that's not. I actually don't think that.
I know. That's good. I know I'm projecting. I'm aware of me projecting. But let me articulate it because I can learn something about myself. Okay. I'm not by describing.
What you're afraid that I think?
Yeah, I'm afraid that what I think is that you're like this guy. He needs to give up on animation. His puppet shows are cool. You got to see his puppet shows. Why is he doing animation for?
That's not what I'm thinking.
That's what I think. I don't know why.
Have I ever made that?
No.
Is that something that I...
No. It's complete projection. But, what you represent to me, I don't know. What do you represent to me?
I definitely don't think that.
Oh, that's good. You did program one movie. After my movie was in Transfiguration, somebody left a letterbox review that was like, ick. It was 1 star, ick. Please never make me watch this again. Or ick, please no. No, thank you. That's what
it was a gross one on purpose. I was like... It's also just one that's memorable to me, because it's it was the first thing I ever saw about you.
Yeah, you were there for that.
Yeah, because it was I was TAing that class.
Yeah.
Back when I was a teacher and you were the student.
And I learned a lot.
Yeah.
My parents were piano salespeople in the Northeast in Philadelphia. They sold organs, not body parts, but piano organs. And they moved to Florida because my dad was opening up little shops in Philadelphia, like selling organs and pianos and keyboards. And my mom, well, my parents were both failed musicians. And they got into...
Failed musicians?
Failed. Like, they both wanted to be musicians, and they didn't have what it takes. My mom had an idea, and her idea was like, okay, we can sell pianos with this idea that if you sell the piano, and you also offer a lifetime of free piano lessons with the piano, then you can really get people to be interested. It's a great marketing campaign. You buy an organ, and you pay, a lot of money for an organ. They're kind of, I don't know how much they were. Maybe like $6,000 sometimes for an organ in the 80s, early 80s, late 70s. If you buy an organ, but you're paying a lot of money for an organ, but you're going to get free piano lessons for the rest of your life. It's a pretty great marketing idea. And you come into the store anytime you want, any day of the week. My mom would be there to teach you, and so it was a really great idea. And so their idea was, well, okay, then we're going to move to Florida because there's so many old people. And then we can get them to buy these organs, and we'll offer them free piano lessons for the rest of their life. But the rest of their life is like, not so long. And they would purposely campaign, and like they would do, they would like market in malls, and like when they were there in the morning, when they were doing their morning walks, the older people, and they would go to like retirement communities and kind of events where there would be a lot of old people, bingo halls and shops where a lot of old people would hang out. And that was kind of their target audience. They moved to Florida specifically to do this, and that's where I was born, in Florida. The business fell apart by the time I was 5, 6 years old. My parents split. My dad got really into Scientology. He got my mom into it, and then when I was born, my aunt moved to Florida because she was getting out of a relationship, and she moved to Florida to help my mom raise me and my brother. And my aunt was my dad's sister. Her name was Abby. My aunt and mom were suspicious that he was having an affair. And so in Scientology, you're audited. And I was audited as a kid. So you go in, I was like 4, 5 years old, and I would hold the e-meter, and they would just talk to me. And it was back when Scientology had no money. So we would go to this like shopping plaza, and one of the auditors even had guinea pigs like in her office. And she named one of the guinea pigs Jesus. I'm not kidding. It was very strange, but she had guinea pigs in the office, and I would be audited like once a week after school, and I really loved it.
Why did you love it?
What?
Why did you love it?
Because it was just someone asking about your day and asking you questions. Nobody treated you like, when you were a kid, nobody treated you like an adult and asked you questions. And I appreciated being asked questions. And I appreciated being asked to process things. My aunt snuck into my dad's auditing files and then found out that he was having an affair.
Oh, wow.
And so that's why their parents split. And then my whole family, my aunt then, the next time she was audited, she had to admit that she snuck into my dad's file. She had to admit that to her auditor. And so she got kicked out of Scientology, and my dad got kicked out of Scientology, and my family got kicked out of Scientology. But my aunt...
That's crazy.
Even though my dad hated Scientology because they pretty much, he got caught. And it was Scientology to blame. My mom was never really that into it because she was an Italian Catholic.
It's kind of, I feel like, rare to get kicked out of Scientology. I feel like all the stories you hear are people can't leave.
Yeah, they can't leave. We got kicked out. This was in the early 90s, so it was a different time in Scientology history.
Yeah.
They didn't quite have their, they were still a cult, but they weren't as aggressive with their tactics to keep people, I think. My dad and my mom split, and then I was raised by my mom and my aunt. Everyone in my neighborhood growing up thought my mom was a lesbian. My mom, she tried to go back to school and to get a job as a teacher, and my aunt was opening a business as a nutritionist. And so I was left alone a lot with my brother. My brother and I just would have a lot of fun in the house. It was like, how do I explain it? It was like my parents bought this house at the height of their money, when they had money, and they were like a family, and it was this kind of cool 70s strange house, like a spiral staircase, a swimming pool. And then my dad, they divorced, my dad went bankrupt and kind of left the family. And then we were left with this house. that was like that kind of slowly fell apart, and like as the years went by, it kind of went into disarray. Like we had like an atrium, and it like got moldy and fungus, and like everything was really dirty, but it was so exciting to be there as a kid. And it was like next in the woods, so I grew up kind of like in the woods, which is kind of surprising, and with a lot of video games, so both.
How was school for you growing up?
I liked school. I wasn't smart. I was smart at the beginning. Something happened. I was talking to someone about this. I was smart at the beginning of school.
What do you mean at the beginning?
Like when I was like in kindergarten and first grade, people were like, this kid's smart. And then when I heard that, I thought, oh, I don't have to try anymore. I'm good. I got this. I'm smart. And then by fourth grade, I was the lowest in the class. So
well, I mean, it's not like that. It's not like kindergarten's so difficult.
Yeah, I know. But I took it to heart. Somebody thought I needed special treatment, and they thought those kids special. And I heard that, and I thought, oh, it means I don't have to learn. It means that things are going to come easy to me. And so I never really made effort in school. I never tried hard. And I really wanted to be a visual artist. But I was a really bad visual artist. I didn't know how to color properly, and I didn't know how to visualize my ideas that I had in my head. And that's all I wanted to do was like I had these like weird ideas that were really big, and I just wanted to make them. And people are really quick to tell you when you're not a good visual artist when you're a kid. I found like my aunt, teachers, they are like, you're not good at this, but you have a good personality, you're very charismatic, you should be an actor. And so everyone would tell me, oh, you should be an actor, you should be an actor, you should be an actor. Because I was, I was an extrovert, and I hate acting. Acting's stupid. So I gave up art. I thought I wasn't good at it, and I started doing acting in high school. Went to performing arts high school to study acting, and I always liked art more. And then I studied acting in college and hated it even more. Theater. I hated theater people. And then I dropped out. I dropped out when I discovered puppets in a class. Someone was talking about puppets, and I said, oh, that's really cool. I want to do puppets. And then I dropped out, and I went to Bread and Puppet. And I started making puppet shows. Shadow puppet shows. I learned a lot.
Yeah, I think like I don't really think that you should be either or. I think you should be both.
Yeah, it is a correct answer.
I think that.
And just in the same way that you should work animation and film.
Yeah.
And documentary. Like the idea that you're one or the other is so limiting.
Well, I mean, like for you specifically, I think like the animation is also like when I think of what was the name? It was like a woman's name.
Charlotte.
Charlotte. Like when I think about that, like that works as a film and it's like really great, But it's like I also love your poetry. I mean, your puppetry, and I actually kind of think that the two kind of inform each other in interesting ways.
I've been thinking about that.
And I don't think that they're like these two things that need to be separated. I think that honestly it would be cool to see them combined more than anything.
Yeah. I agree. I want to find what that is, Yeah. I want to figure out what that is, like how to combine them.
Why are you not interested in comedy?
I don't think that way. Like I don't think about jokes. I'm not really funny, and the things that I like the most are things that are more, I like melodrama, and I like, I like drama.
Yeah.
I love melodrama.
Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, right. Gilmore Girls. That's when I finally felt like, oh, I found something that was, that felt true to me. Like acting and theater never really, even now, it never really feels true, but making a puppet show feels very, cutting the paper and the shadow puppets and overhead projectors and flashlights, it feels really good to me. And I think that's because I grew up with a lot of toys.
Mm-hmm.
So
Playmobil.
A lot of Playmobil.
You're a Playmobil boy. Playmo boy.
Yeah, and I hated Legos. What are they called? Lagos?
Legos.
Didn't like them. Loved Playmobil boy 100%.
How do you feel like other kids treated you? And
I really wanted to be liked, and so I was able to find ways of being funny as a way of masking me being not like the other kids, like the other boys, being flamboyant or weird or all that stuff. I was able to very quickly learn how to turn it into something that was likable and would allow me to get by without being ridiculed or without being ostracized. And I went to
In middle school, I went to a Catholic school. I was really lucky, and the Catholic school was like, everyone was really nice. No one was really bullied. Later, 7th and 8th grade, we couldn't afford that school anymore. My dad stopped sending money to my mom for the schooling, and so I went to a public school, and that was really hard. And suddenly, the things that were once charming were no longer charming. The thing that once would make people laugh didn't make people laugh anymore. So you're wearing 2 different color Converse, wearing a Queen watch or a funny blazer, instead of people thinking that was like cool or like what a clown, I was like, the gay kid or the F word, F word or whatever. And so suddenly I was like bullied for the first time in my life. And that was hard. I mean, mostly that time it was always you were gay. And I had bad acne. I had such bad acne. And I obsessively scratched my face and bled. And I was bleeding all the time. Like my whole life, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th grade 11th grade was just like blood. Blood on my fingernails, blood on my face. Could never look in a mirror. And then the development of a self-critic. And then in high school, because of that, these things adding up, and then in high school I had such a strong self-critic. So I couldn't speak. I was unable to speak without criticizing anything that I said. So, anything. I can remember, anytime I had any interaction with the external world, there was a critic that would immediately come in and say that was bad, that was wrong, you're an idiot. Like everything. And it became so unbearable, I wasn't able to speak. This was like freshman, sophomore year, I had trouble speaking in class suddenly. This like extrovert I became. And I think a lot had to do with my skin. And so then I had to go through cognitive therapy. That was really nice. My mom put me in cognitive therapy, so I was lucky. So by 12th grade, I was like better, a lot better. Yeah.
Talk about Gilmore Girls.
Talk about it?
Yeah, talk about it.
I got really into Gilmore Girls when my mom was dying, and it was so comforting. There's something about that show that is so comforting. I can't explain it. It makes me feel so, it feels so familiar, even though I didn't get into it until I was 26. Like, why? I have there's nothing about it. When I was a teenager and that show was on, I thought it was so stupid. And I thought, this show's for girls. Like, it's so dumb. And then I started watching when I was 26, and for some reason, why does it feel nostalgic and comforting when I have no association to it? I don't know, but I love that show so much. It hits something in my heart. It never really gets activated. I was watching it when my mom was dying and found it so comforting, and then I went online on Reddit, and I posted recently, maybe like a year ago, I was just like, hey, did anyone else watch this show? Like when they're going through a really hard time, and many people talked about this. Many people online in the community were saying, yeah, like my mom was dying or died, or I was going through a really challenging time, and everyone was saying that, like, for whatever reason, Gilmore Girls gave them a really strong sense of comfort. So I love it for that reason. Yeah. But nothing's like Gilmore Girls.
Do you feel like any of the bullying kind of like sticks with you now?
I mean, I don't look at myself in the mirror. I can't. I never will look at myself in the mirror. And even doing this, I'll never watch this video. It's so bad that if I see a picture of myself, if I look at a picture of a group of people, and I don't know I'm in the picture, and I'm looking at the picture, there'll be a brief moment, and it's less than a second, when I see the person that is me, and in my head I go, oh, who's that guy? He looks kind of cool. Who have I seen him before? And then when I realize it's me, it feels like the sky falls into me. I feel like suddenly like pushed inward, and I feel like nauseous, and I'm like, oh, I can't look. But there's a split second when I can see myself from objectively, and I go, oh, that guy's not so bad. Who is that? He seems cool. Who is that? For whatever reason, I don't like the way that I look because of external experiences that have, or internal, no, things that I've experienced that have created internal dialogues or internal reactions that I can't break. I just can't break them. And I don't know, is it so bad? Is that such a bad thing? I think it's good. It's humbling. Why should I? I don't know. It's probably better.
Why?
Because I don't know. I think being humble is important, and
Do you feel like it's humility though, or is it like? It feels maybe like like not that it's not like humble, but maybe it's like not the like good version of humility.
You're probably not. You're probably right.
Okay.
So I just want to talk about oil pulling. A lot of people think that it's a myth, and they think that it's some type of hoax, but it's real. I guarantee you it's real. Oil pulling is real. I used to do it with grapeseed oil, and the other one was, what are some other oils? Grapeseed oil? What do people want to call it?
Coconut oil, shea butter oil. I don't think that's real. I think it's just shea
Grapeseed
butter.
oil? What else do people
Olive oil.
Unrefined sunflower? No. Either way, you use coconut oil and you swish it in your mouth for 15 minutes, which sounds like it's easy, but it's actually hard. 15 minutes swishing every day, and it's just incredible for your teeth. The health of my teeth has improved.
Really?
Any pain, any little buildup, anything, detritus, you oil pull and it just fixes everything.
Oil pulling?
Yeah, it's called oil pulling.
Pull.
Yeah, it takes all the toxins out of your teeth.
Really?
Yes, by swishing around.
It feels like
minutes.
it's fake.
No, it's real. Oil pulling. It's real. It's not fake. I would think it's fake, but I've used it. I do this. So I know it's real.
You don't have any like cavities anymore?
Nothing. You go to the dentist and they tell you, oh, it looks like you have a big hole. This is going to be a cavity next month. You say, okay, doc, and then you do this for that month every day. You go back to the doctor and they're going to go, oh my God, what did you do?
Really?
Yeah, I'm serious. This is not some joke. I'm not being some clown.
You left theater school to go to Bread and Puppet.
Yeah. Bread and Puppet is a commune and puppet theater that is on a farm. It was started by an artist named Peter Schumann from Germany, and he moved to the United States to start a politically engaged performance company with puppets. Yeah, I just brought
a
tent.
tent. Yeah, it was like a tent.
Yeah, I brought a tent and I set it up, and I remember arriving late at night. I've never set up a tent before, and I never stayed at night, but I had this tent, and I remember like arriving really late, and it was raining, and I just like found some spot I thought was right, and I was trying to set up the tent, and it was falling apart as I was setting it up, and I finally was exhausted and fell asleep, and then I woke up, and I put the tent like right in the middle of like the pathway, like just 3 feet by the entrance. Like I just got so lost when I was trying to find a place to put the tent, and then I found the perfect spot, and it was like right at the entrance. And I remember waking up with people like going, "Who put their tent here? Who did this?" I think the story you want to hear, like, "Oh, I went to Bread and Puppet and found my people," but no, I just found a different type of people where I didn't fit in. Is essentially what happened.
Do you view puppetry as like a skill of yours? Is that like a...
No.
Because I remember you were at my house once and you like there was like a random puppet that I had, like a random string puppet that I had. And you like started doing it really well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you started doing it like really crazy.
I did the puppet. Yeah, I'm pretty good. I went to puppet school.
Yeah.
So I can move a puppet.
Yeah, you can move a puppet.
I can move a puppet.
Yeah.
But I'm not stellar, but I know how to move a puppet. It does take some training. Joe Schmo can't pick up a puppet and just bring it to life.
Yeah.
Right? It takes a little work, it takes a little practice. It's not easy. So I took some classes, so I have a little of experience.
What's it take to control a puppet well?
Breath.
Wait, explain that. What does that mean?
The puppet's gotta breathe.
What does that mean?
You gotta bring breath into the puppet. The puppet has breath. And inner thoughts, reaction.
Yeah.
It has to react.
Okay, so Texas for 2 years.
Mm-hmm. And then Florida.
And Florida because your mom.
Yeah.
What happened with
But
your
she was
mom?
already dead.
What happened? Like, can you tell the story of your mom, or do you?
No, I can. She had ovarian cancer. She was diagnosed when I was like maybe 22. And she lived 3 years with it. So, she was sick. She was awesome though. Like in the sense that she was really strong, and she didn't tell us for a long time. My brother had a wedding. She went to the wedding with a wig, and we didn't know. It was that type of thing. She kind of kept it secret. And it was really hard because of her husband, boyfriend. Eventually she had this stepdad who I just never liked. And he just always felt protective of her in a way that was unnecessary. I mean, I'll say, I don't think blended families work. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm all for an unconventional family. Like, I think, like, I think my mom and my aunt raising me was awesome. I think, 2 dads, 2 moms, whatever, is cool. I'm not saying any of that, but I think that blended families, like, I don't want to be in this documentary, but I will say, like, the idea of, like, people who aren't your family raising you, I think we have, like, I don't know, people don't ever talk about the hard parts of that. Yeah. And living with someone who's not my dad and not related to me and not...
It's like the premise feels wrong a little
bit.
Like when you're the kid, the
premise feels wrong.
I see that a lot with, like, adopted kids, too.
Yeah.
Where it's like, even though the premise that's being sold to you is kind of like...
Yes.
Like, it's supposed to be good. It's like, you can't get over, like, the unease of how that feels.
Yeah.
No matter, like, no matter how many times people say it's, like, good. Yeah. Like, you just can't, and you just feel it.
Yeah.
And you feel like it's wrong.
Yeah.
And you feel like you need to be somewhere else.
Yeah. I think that's probably even more true for people who are adopted.
Yeah.
I really think so.
But, like, having this, like, intruder come in.
Yes.
To your family.
Yeah.
And act like, oh, I'm the dad now.
Yeah.
And you have to agree that I'm the dad.
Yeah. And, like, they're suddenly in, but honestly... They don't care. I'll be honest, like, most of the time, they don't really care about you.
Yeah.
Right? They're putting up with you.
Yeah.
Or their priorities lie with that relationship they have with your parent.
Yeah.
And they will do whatever it takes to make sure that's their priority. And most people don't understand the importance of balancing that with the child, like how to develop a relationship. If that is a priority, then you need to have a healthy relationship with the kid, but people don't. That takes therapy. That takes, like, a lot of self-examination that most people, especially people who are probably, like, divorced 3 or 4 times, they don't have that. I don't know. So he, so he was he denied access to my mom, my brother and I, and we would come visit, and he wouldn't let us stay, he wouldn't let us see her sometimes. But my mom, we talked to her on the phone, and when I did see her, it was, it was definitely extremely hard, but she was really also kind of, like, I think when people are dying, they become so vulnerable, and I think my mom, I got to see her in so many different stages. I got to see her as a mom, I got to see her as a student, as a struggling single mom, but also in the stage of vulnerability where she was really pure and kind of innocent too, and like a child. And I kind of, as hard as it was, I also have appreciation for seeing her in these different stages. My aunt also died from cancer, and I had to help her die, and that was more difficult because everyone's different when they're dying, and she was more angry and bitter, and so that was more hard. What do I mean?
Yeah, she was angry and bitter about it.
She was angry and bitter about dying, and so you become, she was not pleasant to be around. And my mom, I think, when she was dying, sure would be angry and bitter sometimes, but she also had a different aura, I guess. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But there's something about being around people that are dying. I don't know how to explain it. It's totally terrible and very difficult, but there's elements of it that are kind of beautiful in some ways. Yeah. I don't know if I can really explain it. I think it really awakens you, because like it just awakens you to existence and life and to presentness and life's fragility and its temporality, and to be in that space for a long period of time, as painful as it is, it also is like, it just kind of jostles you. And I don't really regret, experiencing that. I always actually say that losing Seymour was harder than losing my mom in some ways. Because my mom...
Because your dog, like Seymour, was murdered.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom, I could prepare, and I got to say goodbye, and she got to say goodbye. There was a type of purity in it, and beauty. In fact, I wish I got to spend more time with her, but Ron... I had a lot of anger about that. Ron took that away. Like he kind of took that from my brother and I.
Your stepdad.
Yeah. I was thinking about something you said about that I wanted to say. I have a funny story about my mom. When I was watching Gilmore Girls, when she was dying, she was really into Modern Family, and she loved Cam. And now my work is like I'm really interested in the relationship between memory and grief and television and pop culture. And it comes from this moment in my life where I was really interested in Gilmore Girls. She was really interested in Modern Family. She loved Modern Family. We watched it together. She watched it all the time. And she loved Cam from Modern Family. Did you watch it? Do you know Cam? Cam is like this character in Modern Family. He's one of the son's husbands, and he is very funny. And she would always talk about Cam. Like, my mom loved talking about Cam. Oh, you won't believe what Cam did today. And then I contacted the actor, Cam. I contacted his manager. I emailed him. I found his manager's name. I emailed him and said, like, my mom's dying. Can I get Cam to send a video? In a day, the actor who plays Cam sent my mom a video. But he sent the video as himself. And my mom was confused. She was like, this isn't Cam. And I remember sitting, I was sat her down. I was like, Mom, we're gonna watch this. And I did this for you. I was really happy and excited. And at the time I was really disappointed by her reaction, and now I find it very funny. But she was almost confused. She was
offended
confused. Yeah, she was offended. She was like, that's not Cam. Why isn't he acting like Cam? And she said, can you ask him to do it again as Cam?
That's actually really funny.
Because I just think about how we use fiction, and we use characters, and we use narrative to really kind of live and understand life and create our own life out of fake fiction,
Yeah.
Fiction becomes these signposts for how we need to materialize and understand our own lives.
It's interesting because I feel like maybe an impulse some people have right now is to view that as a modern new thing, or that's somehow bad.
Yeah.
But I think we've always done that.
Yeah, you too.
People have always done that. I feel like that's why stories exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Why'd you go to Japan? What happened?
I applied for a fellowship from Julie Taymor. Do you know the director and theater
No.
maker? She made she's a theater director who did The Lion King.
Oh, cool.
And then she directed some films. She made some films, Frida and Across the Universe, which has Across the Universe.
Heard of it, but
It's like the Beatles musical.
Oh yeah.
She did Bread and Puppet too.
Oh, cool.
And so she had a fellowship for theater directors, where she would pay them to do a year abroad, anywhere, and immerse themselves in a type of performance. And so I applied to go to Japan to study a type of puppet performance called katakuri ningyo, which is a type of mechanical puppet performance that takes place in festivals that are performed through strings. They're sort of like upside down marionettes. They're performed on floats with strings, with puppeteers hidden inside of the floats.
Oh, yeah.
And they perform them in front of shrines for the gods. And then after they do the performances, they parade them through the cities and perform them in the city, and people kind of stand in their cities and watch the performances. And I said, I really want to study this. So I studied with, in email, I spoke to this woman, Yasuko Senda. At the time I emailed her, I think she was 72. And I probably consider her one of my best friends now. So we met in email, and I asked her if I could study with her, and she sent me her book, and she said yes. And she's a scholar, and I applied, and I interviewed, and I got the fellowship. And so the fellowship kind of changed my life.
How long was it?
How long? It was over a year.
Wow. Why was it important for you? Why was it an important experience?
It made me less selfish.
Why?
Because I learned how to care about other things I learned how to care, and I learned how to research, and I learned how to be invested in things that had nothing to do with me. And how important those things are. To step out of myself, to stop thinking about my own directing or my own writing, and to care about things that had nothing to do with me was really exciting. To lose yourself in something that has nothing to do with you is really wonderful. And I became quite envious of people who did that for a living, to find a passion that is not reflective is like kind of nice. And so I found that in Japan because I became really like into learning about this type of practice and these types of this festival culture, and then I became really interested in this other type of performance called Fusuma Katakuri, which is like sliding panel theater. So I became like really invested in, and just like, it was nice to care about something that, that felt like it was tied to something bigger than me. So that's what I learned about, is to like find, to have meaning, and to put meaning in something that is bigger than yourself. Is like brings, I think, a lot of happiness and pleasure and joy. But I think most people are searching for that and don't have it. To have meaning in something, yeah. Well, I never wanted to make movies. When I was in Pittsburgh, I was like, all I want to do is make puppet shows in Pittsburgh. And if I can survive doing this, maybe it'll be really cool, like have a puppet theater in Pittsburgh. And like everyone will know you, like, oh, you're the puppeteer of Pittsburgh. And that was it. And then you go to CalArts, and suddenly I think, because you start challenging yourself and you start overcoming obstacles, I think your goals just become a lot bigger. I never thought I'd make movies, and now I'm making movies.
Do you like making movies?
Yeah.
Why? Because
more people see them. I think it's kind of cool to work on something for a really long time, because I think it really resists. I think movies, I think they actually resist a lot of like current trends and how people express themselves. People really want to, make really short content, or make things that are, they want like satisfaction really quick. And I think I have to train myself to really have a timeline that does not agree with the way that culture moves. So that's kind of nice.
CalArts, and now you're in Korea.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
I mean, I feel like COVID just, I don't know, I feel like I'm still in a purgatory. I feel like I'm in Korea paying for my sins. I feel like Korea is a weird purgatory.
Yeah.
And I have to pay.
How do you feel like, do you feel like the way that you are perceived in the US versus how you're perceived in Korea is different?
Yeah.
Like, how do you feel like the changes are? Or what do you...
I think in Korea, you're a foreigner. So I think I'm perceived with the label as foreigner. I'm probably seen a little bit more like a loose cannon, maybe. It feels like it's not a good fit for me. It feels like I shouldn't be here. So I constantly kind of feel like, oh, this isn't the right place for me. And maybe it's the right place now, but even saying that doesn't exactly feel right. So I'm learning to kind of make the best out of it, even though I know it's probably not the right place. And I feel like I'm making the right relationships. Like I feel like I'm putting in positive experiences for the students, but for my own life, it doesn't exactly feel right.
What do you feel like the difference is between like living in Japan and living in Korea for you?
In some ways, it's probably easier to live in Korea. Yeah, there's a lot less judgment, there's lots of pressure. There's a lot less pressure in Korea, and I think the working conditions are better in Korea. I think working conditions in Japan are worse. That's just my opinion. I don't know. And I feel a little bit more free and less judged.
I feel like you talk about your experiences in Japan very positively. But then like right now, maybe it's the difference between like nostalgia and like current, but like do you feel like something about Japan was like more positive for you than
Korea? I think it was a better match because it's more of a nostalgic country, and it's more into like, and it's easier to be alone in Japan. There's a lot of things you can do when you're alone in Japan. It had a lot of puppets. Like I love puppets. And so learning about puppetry and going to festivals and experiencing puppet shows and immersing myself like in that, that subject that was really inspiring to me was really great. So I think that's what helped me like Japan, is that I had something to invest myself into. And I think in Korea I'm having trouble finding that. And if I had to pick something, I would have to pick, if I had to do it, it would be teaching, right? I could do that. But I've personally not taken that leap because I don't want to invest. I would rather invest the time into making a film. Like I have to pick, like film or teaching.
Yeah.
It was fun to go out with friends in America. I can't really do that here.
Yeah.
I don't have friends.
Do you feel like the foreigner label? Can you talk about that more?
You know, like you're never. This isn't your home. Like you can't. Like you don't belong here. You have a feeling. You don't belong here. This isn't your home. And so that's cool when you're traveling, but to live in a place like that gets hard. Yeah, I don't know. I think Korea just doesn't really like foreigners. And I don't blame Korea. It's gone through centuries of people intruding and taking advantage, conquest. Like, why should they be welcoming to foreigners? And I get that, and I can understand that. But living here does make it hard. But, you know, probably shouldn't generalize, but well, what do you think?
Like I don't feel like I'm getting the foreigner thing as much, maybe.
Yeah.
Like I feel like for the most part I blend in pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
And then people are usually shocked when I don't speak Korean.
Yeah.
Which is like a weird feeling for me. Like it's a weird feeling, like contextually, that's a weird feeling for me to experience.
Yeah.
That's cool.
This square, see this circle over here?
Yeah.
They call it Teletubby. Teletubby.
Cool.
It looks like a Teletubby area. You wanna look?
Sure. Oh, it does look like that.
These are some weird mirrors. I should be enjoying this, you know? So peaceful, nice night. Should be enjoying it.
Sorry.
What?
Sorry, I don't know.
No, but like I don't let myself enjoy things, so
Oh,
I don't know why. Maybe it's night. I complain, but like it's nice, you know.
yeah.
Sometimes, like when you're in a situation you're familiar with, with another person who's not in the situation, you begin to see the situation from the other person's perspective. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you're in a situation you're usually in, but then your friend is there who's never usually there. It changes your perspective. It changes your own perspective of it.
I mean, like, it seems like a not perfect, but like kind of a cool setup,
Yeah.
you know?
You know? Yeah.
It definitely could be worse.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
But I also understand, like, why you're feeling frustrated and stuff.
Yeah.
It's
It
not
definitely
like,
could be worse. There's a lot of positives. It's very pretty. Very peaceful. I have a nice apartment. The students are very nice.
and they seem like they like you.
Yeah.
What is that?
이거 사다
Oh, yeah.
괜찮았어?
Oh. Hard.
그치 안 좋았죠?
네.
그냥 환불이고 환불.
잠시만요. Sorry.
내가 보니까 이거 잘못된 거 같아.
Sorry. Papa go.
바보?
Papa go.
말로?
Okay. And
환불.
oh, how did you find out? How do you? who told you?
이게 잘못됐어 이게.
Oh my gosh.
네. 이렇게 미는 거예요. 이렇게 하면 안 돼.
I bought clay from him for a workshop with students, and the clay was hard. And somehow he found out, and so he's offering me a refund.
That's nice.
It's very nice. But I come here all the time, so I was thinking he just give me store credit, but he may prefer a refund. Let's see.
얘도 앞뒤에요. 얘는 A프예요.
That's what I want actually.
You should tell him that. You'll accept it if you give him that. Why doesn't he want to get rid of it? He likes it too much.
I think he likes it too much.